In the ancient world, astrology could get you executed. Not because the stars were forbidden, but because knowing too much about them made you dangerous. A single chart, cast in a dark room, could reveal when the emperor might die, or who would replace him, and that was enough to make you a traitor. Tonight we're not talking about cute zodiac memes. We are going back to when astrology was state intelligence, a weapon kings used and feared in the same breath. For the ancient Mediterranean world, astrology wasn't a side hobby. It was built on serious math and cosmic theology. The idea was simple but terrifying. If you could understand the pattern behind the motions of the heavens, you could understand past, present, and future. By the late 1st century, historians like Tacitus describe a world where most people believed the stars told the truth about events on Earth. This wasn't just superstition. Representing the movements of the sun, moon, and planets in tables and models required a new kind of higher mathematics, a universal language mapping the mind of a cosmic god who was thought to govern everything. Astrology lived where astronomy, religion, and politics fused together. The planets were divine beings. Their interactions were read as negotiations between gods, collectively determining life below. Long before Instagram birth charts, there were Assyrian court astrologers, staying up at night, watching the sky, and sending written reports to the king on what the moon and planets meant for war, famine, and rebellion. By the time this current of knowledge flowed into Greek and Roman culture, astrology had become a hybrid. A cosmic religion wired into scientific-style observation, plugged straight into the nerves of the state. Now imagine being emperor in this world. You rule armies, but somewhere in your city lives a quiet mathematician who claims he can read your death date off the sky. Roman emperors periodically banished astrologers and sorcerers, sometimes alongside philosophers, not to protect the people from frauds, but for political reasons. The danger wasn't the horoscope itself. The danger was that a practitioner who knew a little more than the others could predict the time of death of the emperor, even name his likely successor. In other words, if you could name the next emperor, you could become the spiritual centerpiece of a conspiracy, or the generals whispering with, a priest, a banker, or the astrologer who keeps seeing bad aspects around the throne. Later, in the time of Septimus Severus, we even find an edict preserved on papyrus that makes this fear brutally clear. During Severus' reign, simply asking an astrologer, "When will our emperor die? Who will be the next emperor?" was treated as a serious offense, explicitly tied to treason and conspiracy. It wasn't the stars that were illegal, it was weaponizing prediction against the ruler. As the empire shifted toward Christianity, the fear of astrology didn't vanish, it intensified, now with theological backup. Church councils in the 4th century condemned not only magicians and enchanters, but astrologers explicitly. Canon 36 of the Council of Laodicea says that priests and clergy must not be sorcerers, enchanters, or astrologers, and must not make amulets, calling such things poison for the soul. The irony: the harder officials attacked these practices, the more obvious it became that they were still widespread. Archaeology and legal texts both suggest that astrology and related arts did not disappear for a long time. Eventually, imperial law followed the pulpit. In the year 409 CE, Emperors Honorius and Theodosius II issued a law. All astrologers were to be expelled and exiled, unless they burned their books in the presence of a bishop, and publicly embraced the Catholic faith. Think about that. The state didn't just want astrologers silent, it wanted the knowledge base erased. Tables, techniques, grimoires. Other sources describe the same trend. Those who practiced the error of astrology could avoid deportation. It's only by publicly burning their own books. When a government forces you to burn your data, it's not just theology, it's information control. Astrology had become too entwined with political forecasts, succession fears, and elite anxieties to be left unregulated. In the Byzantine world that followed, The vocabulary around this kind of knowledge became very revealing. One Greek phrase used for occult and divinatory arts was to hyperanthroponidai, to know things that are above a human being. Knowledge like that was seen as dangerous. Merely possessing certain books, instruments, or magical tools could put you under suspicion. Another word, periargia, started out as curiosity or excessive curiosity, and then slid into the meaning of meddling in forbidden arts. So astrology sat in this liminal zone, part science, mathematical models of planetary motion, part religion, gods and spirits woven into the stars, part forbidden intelligence, knowledge about emperors, wars, and fate that you were not supposed to have. Christian emperors, like their pagan predecessors, feared all methods of divination, because a skilled practitioner could predict a ruler's death and hint at the name of his successor. In other words, astrology was less daily horoscope to more classified briefing from the sky. Fast forward to now. Most people meet astrology as memes and personality tests, not as a threat to heads of state. But the structure of the fear hasn't changed much. In antiquity, astrologers were banned, deported, or killed because they claimed to see patterns in the cosmos that could reveal when regimes would fall. Today, we have predictive models, risk assessments, and data mining systems run by intelligence agencies and private firms. Algorithms that forecast political unrest, economic collapse, even the likelihood of revolution. Back then, the model was a horoscope wheel etched into wax tablets. Now, it's lines of code on a server farm, but the anxiety is familiar. Who controls prediction? Who gets access to it? And what happens when those predictions start to threaten the people in power? So the next time someone dismisses astrology as harmless entertainment, remember there was a time when the stars were treated like a classified file cabinet, and the astrologer was both the archivist and the potential assassin. If you want more deep dives into the occult history behind modern systems of control, subscribe, drop a comment, or share. If you had access to perfect prediction, would you use it, or would you burn the books?